Let me talk at ya. Welcome one and all to Not Just A Guy, the show about, by, and for struggling storytellers. I'm your host, Not Just A Guy, the guy, Garrett. And folks, we're trying something a little bit different today. Today, I want to look at the idea of finding time for whatever it is that you're passionate about. In this case, for me, it's the podcast. I love this podcast, love doing this podcast. And it's about finding time for stuff. And what do I mean by that is this is my third day in my work week, which started on Thursday. And right now, at the time of recording this, it is a Saturday. And look, I'm working like a mid-shift, and I drive about 30-ish to 40-ish minutes to work and about 30-ish to 40-ish minutes from work. And so I was kind of like, well, it's kind of been a little rough to fit in when I'm going to record Not Just A Guy before it drops on the day it drops. And I was thinking to myself, well, I guess I could just either wake up a little earlier and do it before work, or right when I get home from work, I could just do it then. But I know myself. I know that, one, I'm going to want to get some sleep. And two, I know on both ends, I'm going to want to sleep in. And then when I get home, I'm going to be really tired. I'm going to want to lay my butt down and lay my head to rest. And so I thought to myself, what better way to try and get the episode in than split it up into two. So this episode is going to be the first of its kind as far as on Not Just A Guy. Maybe someone else has done this before. The first half of this episode is going to be before work, and the other half is going to be after work. After I get home and I shower, so I'm not a little stinky boy. It's just a fun little experiment. It's definitely not going to be like the go-to way that I'm going to continue to do the show. But I just saw an opportunity to just, we have to, as storytellers, especially those of us that are struggling and are working, like I've talked about how last year I was working 2 jobs, and that was a really big balancing act, and I felt like my art kind of suffered because I just didn't have the time to put towards it, and I really just had to kind of, very much, it was just things were getting shunted to a day when I had both jobs off, or when I only was working one, and then in the afternoon or before work, my other job, I could find the time then. So all of this is sort of an experiment, and just to kind of show you that you can get in your work anywhere, anytime, and that's pretty much what I want to try to do. But it's still going to be a normal Not Just A Guy episode. Some housework. Oh, someone's driving by. Hello. I'm kidding. You probably couldn't even hear that. Also trying out new. Got my laptop that I usually record the podcast through. I record the audio on it as well as the video through a webcam. It decided just no, and something bad happened, and now it's not working. So we're adjusting. We're moving on the fly. I still have the same trusty microphone, but I'm actually using my camera that I always forget to charge the battery of, because I'm like, hey, might as well use this camera. It's kind of for this. I've done one other Not Just A Guy with this camera, and I liked how it worked on that, so figured might as well bring it back and use it and actually justify purchasing it, and I really like this camera. And also, again, you don't need fancy equipment to podcast. You don't need anything like that. I own a Zoom, but I guess I kind of got the wrong one because it's like a single channel Zoom. I wish I'd gotten a different one. I gotten it with the intention of like recording more in person with people. And I like the one I have, and I tested it out last year when I was kind of doing some stuff for Crusades of the Nexus. Ultimately, it just didn't work out. Nothing against the product. It's just I purchased the wrong one. Like that's completely on me. I needed one that was more than a single channel. Or maybe if you know anything about Zooms, you can leave in the YouTube comments and let me know. Hey Gary, this is actually how you can make it multi. I wanted to say that you can use really anything. My sound is being recorded on my iPad. I'm just using the voice memo app, and I just have my camera plugged into it. Like, you can kind of use anything. You could be doing this on an iPhone, or really anything that captures sound. If you have a decent mic, I really like my mic. This is a very nice mic. It's actually also a very inexpensive mic. I think this one was under $50, something like that. And this is the one I use for Crusades of the Nexus. Yeah, I've been using this one. Yeah. I have 2 that are the same kind, but this is the one I've been using for Crusades. I've had this one for almost 3 years now, and it's quality. It works. This isn't an ad. I'm not supported. This is not. I swear. That's why I haven't really said anything about like, oh, this is this brand. Although actually, this notice you can see it. But you don't need crazy fancy equipment or like these insane setups. Like it probably doesn't look the best. I mean, it probably looks okay. I mean, I just literally have the light from outside and then one light on. Like, that's just a lamp. It's not some crazy light. I thought about finding my ring light, but then I realized, I'd have to set that up, and I don't want to do that. This isn't trying to make me sound lazy. I'm just telling you, if you want to do something similar to this, if you want to make YouTube videos, if you want to make a video podcast, which is more so what I do, or if you're going to be guesting on somebody's podcast or something like that, or be on a live stream, or you want to Twitch or whatever, you don't really need a crazy setup. There's inexpensive ways, and I push you to use the inexpensive ways. I can't even talk. Can you tell I woke up not that long ago when I decided to do this? There's so many inexpensive ways you can do this stuff. I buy a lot of like equipment that, I try out a lot of things. I have multiple mics like this. I have, this camera. I use my phone camera. My phone camera is actually what we shot our Daredevil cold open on. We'll talk about that in a second. I have like a couple just like little shotgun mics that I got. I have a cage for my camera. I have a cage for, and then I have like a cage for my iPhone. I have like a cage that this thing fits into, and you can just, it has the stabilizers and everything. Emily has like a stabilizer that you can put your phone in, and it like gives you like really smooth camera pans, things like that. I actually need to see if that thing still works. I have some ideas I want to use for that. This even goes beyond just, you're making videos and podcasts, stuff like that. I say, you don't need the most expensive stuff. We shot my college quote unquote thesis undie. We shot that was another one where we borrowed a friend's camera, and I think in the end, I'm trying to remember if we ended up using his camera or if we used phones. I think we ended up using his camera that we borrowed. But again, like, even if your friend has something, just borrow it from them, or if they're willing to let you, or ask them if they want to work on it. He was busy with stuff, so he wasn't able to. But there's so much that you don't need the big crazy equipment to make stuff. Even Crusades, it's like, I just need a mic, and I read my stuff. I used to read my stuff on my computer. Now I read it off my iPad. And the only like big plus, and I do have like a Shield. I didn't use it. I had to do a batch of recordings for Crusades. I think I'm officially wrapped on Crusades. I have a couple pickup lines I need to do. I need to give some alts for things, just like now that I've been sitting with the process and sitting with the characters and moving some characters on to further writing. I'm like, will that character really say that thing I had them say in the first Crusade, like, their first appearance? And so I might change some stuff like that now that I have a better handle on the characters. I think that it is... I was gonna say the only like plus up I probably will change is like, I didn't use that shield just because it's hard. I need to get like a proper stand for it. And it's a big boy. My friend Jack Watson, when we were living together, he had like a little baby shield, and he showed me it on like the link of where to buy it, and he showed me the price. And so I think I went online and I saw that same price, and I thought, this is of course the same one. And I went to the same place where he got it, and then mine came in, and mine was huge. I would have preferred like a smaller one. So that's only my plus up or something. I see if I can get a stand for that. But all that to say, really the only change in my setup is I'm just going to get something to hold my iPad, so I don't have to hold my iPad the entire time. Which I haven't really talked about that experience, because I think that happened in between Not Just A Guy. It was really fun. I realized I've been organizing this last week or so. I've been organizing audio for Crusades. My audio, if you're not familiar, that's my audio drama that I'm working on. It's a supernatural sci-fi anthology with serialized elements, and we are hoping to launch a campaign very soon to help get that thing off the ground. We have all of it pretty much almost recorded. We're going to start putting it together. I'm going to get it to my friend Steven so he can start making music. Steven makes the music for this very show, also made the music for our Daredevil video. We're going to be launching a crowdfunding campaign, mostly to help with sounds, because we're going to need a large sound library, as well as I want to, compensate my actors. They went into this without expecting compensation, but I would like to compensate them in some way, shape, or form. And also I would like to compensate Steven, because he's going to make a lot of music for these things. So we're building that, we're working on that. But I had to go back in. There was the process went on, there was just no time to cast other people, so I had to fill some other roles. I never wanted to seem like I am doing all this. I star in a lot of episodes. That's also just kind of because, one, as the writer-director, I get first dibs. Two, I like to, I like this. I want to play this character. He's cool. I feel an attachment to him, so I like to play them. But it's also, it's just, I mean, I like to perform. It's not my first thing, but I do like to perform. And so, already was starring in a few episodes, and then thankfully there's one episode where I don't have to. There's no me. There was originally supposed to be 2 episodes where there was no me at all. But we were getting along in the process. There was just a character I just couldn't find someone to do. So I ended up doing the voice role. When it comes out, it will be episode 4. And I got to say, I went into it going, I'm going to give this, I'm going to give this my all. I'm going to really do this. I wasn't going to phone it in just because I was doing it at the last minute. And I got to say, it was maybe, besides one other character, it was maybe my like, there's one character here, and you will see that is my, and I'll talk about this, like, was my favorite to portray. He's my favorite character that look, I love all my characters equally. I hate all my villains equally, but this character, this protagonist, I love him. He's my favorite. But that said, this role that I filled in for in episode 4, the supporting role, I loved it. It was maybe my second favorite character that I've portrayed. I had so much fun. That episode's very heartfelt. That episode is very much a love story in spite of life and death. That's how I'll kind of describe it. I just loved playing him. And it's a shout out to the writer. Garrett Briones is a great writer, and I really liked the material he gave me, and I was so wonderfully directed by Garrett Briones that they did the Garrett Briones they just brought the best out of me. They are truly inspiring creators. That was really fun to do, and then I had to do some pickups, and I filled out another antagonist role. But it was fun, and it made me realize I had not recorded for like myself. Like, I hadn't portrayed anybody for a year. That's how long the recording process has been going on. Is I started it early in 2024, but then it kind of got pushed aside just because of all the work and things like that. And then I got more people recording, but I hadn't recorded anything. And I was just the other day, I was recording, or I was working on the recordings. I was organizing things like that. I still had the Audacity files. I just hadn't exported things. I was trying to make it easier for my editor, so I was exporting things individually, things like that. And yeah, I think it was like January 2024 since I had done any recordings for Crusades of the Nexus, which is wild. I've been working on this thing since 2022. Life has gotten in the way. Creative changes. There's just been a lot, and moving and balancing 2 jobs and working at one job, and then it just was, there was so much going on but I've never stopped working on it. I've mentioned on this show, I'm not gonna say I'm so far ahead, but I am. The first volume is written. A side project is written. The second volume is written, and the second volume and the side project have already been sent out to at least one person to start recording their audio for it. And then I have done a rough outline of the next side project. And I'll kind of explain how those side projects will exist and live on. And basically, they might be like a stretch goal. And but even if that stretch goal isn't met, I'll just make them myself. Like I'll just whatever happens because I want them to happen. I'm kind of figuring out if they're going to be fully part of the campaigns, stretch goals, or whatever, to kind of incentivize that idea. But we're working on it. Those side projects are mean just as much to me, and they're crucial. But I am trying to design this thing in a way where if someone isn't able to listen to every single thing, the serialized story we're telling, it still makes sense, because at first and foremost, this is an anthology, but it does feature, it is all tied together by this thing. So we're trying to figure that out at Bachelor Class Headquarters, BCHQ. And I'm just working on that. I've been trying to start. Last time we talked about it's okay to take a break sometimes. I have been living that. My laptop being taken out of commission really kind of, because this area you see here, this living room area, for a little while this was becoming my writing area. The last project I wrote, I just wanted to change the scenery and a change in approach in how I was writing things, and so I moved out of the office. I left my desk there, and I was writing my laptop in here. And then I've been doing a lot more work in the office, but I'm going to go back. That's where I'm going to be writing, especially since now my laptop is out of commission. Although I'm looking into getting one of those like keyboards you can use with like a tablet. I've been looking into doing that and using my iPad when like because like I'm going to be going out of town. So, but again, I don't have the need to, like, like sometimes when I go out of town to visit family, there are a little like. Usually there's like an hour or two where I am just like by myself and I'm like, oh, well, I could, I could write then, but I didn't need to rush to get the keyboard. So I'm like, you know what? No, it is okay to take a break. You're going to go home and spend time with your family and friends and stuff like that. Just don't even worry about it. That is all to say, like, I haven't written in a little bit. And I think in the past I would going this long without writing, which has been about, when did I finish that? It's about 3 weeks, maybe close to a month actually now. I would have felt sort of like, oh my gosh, you're not doing anything, you're wasting time. But then I think that was kind of mitigated, or that feeling's kind of undercut by doing the art, like, doing my re-records. I can't really say reshoots, but doing all that for Crusades. I think that kind of mitigated that feeling. I am going to get back to writing soon. Very excited to do that. That'll be another audio feature that I'm working on, and we're gonna figure that one out. That one should be fun. I haven't decided yet if I'm gonna take a Crusades break after that. I probably won't. I'll probably go right into the next batch of Crusade stuff. I believe in kind of having a wide range of art that you're working on, having a varied portfolio, and Crusades is my main focus, but I am like, well, maybe I do X amount of Crusade stuff and Crusades related scripts, and then I have a different one I want to do. I have one that's way more grounded than Crusades is, and I might do that just as a nice change of pace, a nice way to apply what I've learned so far writing Crusades, apply it to that. Still figuring that out. We don't know yet. I mentioned a little bit ago, Daredevil video. Please keep watching, subscribe. I'm going to keep that thing down in the description. Keep checking it out. We've been getting great, the views keep going up on it. And I'm assuming it's because of Daredevil Born Again airing and people watching that. And oh my Lord, it's getting so bright. the sun's actually coming out for once. It was all tucked away, and now it looks like I'm just like, around me light is just beaming in. We've been getting, the views just keep going up, and it's the most watched video I've ever, obviously Geekscape put it out, but it's the most watched video I've ever been associated with. Although our Matrix video might have had, and now I think about it, we made a Matrix video for Geekscape, might have comparable views, so that might actually be incorrect. I haven't checked that one out in a while. That was the first one we ever made for them. I really, really like that one. Check that one out too. There's no little skit or anything, but I really like that one. Not skit, but cold open. Please, keep checking it out. I would love to get those both to at least 750 views by the time Daredevil Born Again is over. Maybe even 1,000. Tell your friends, share it with your friends, let people know. Share it with your mom, share it with your dog. Let everybody know. I would love to get those to 1,000. That would be awesome, because I'm in a place where, they haven't asked for more videos. They never really ask me for videos. They kind of just wait and see if I have something, and I bring it to them and I go, hey, I'd like to make a video about this. And they go, okay, you're all okay. Just get it to us by this time. I would love to make more. I don't know if I'm going to. I originally had I had a whole slate that I would do after this Daredevil video that I would pitch to them about doing. And then I was like, I'd probably rather just focus on one. And I have one in mind. I don't know what it would be about, or maybe I do. I don't know. Maybe it would be about something that means a lot to me, about a character that means a lot to me. It would tie into a movie that's coming out. This summer, and it would be really important, and I would really like to do it, but I have to see if that response is there. So, let Geekscape know that you'd want to maybe see a video from me about a certain topic. Video viewers, you know what I'm talking about, audio viewers. I just think it'd be really Superman if you did that. Like, I think that would be awesome. That would make me feel special. It'd make me feel like I was like the last son of Krypton or something. I don't know what the video would really be about, but I would really like to. So I have ideas in mind for that. I was even thinking about what the cold open would be, what it would be about. So yeah, let's get those numbers up. Let them know you want more Garrett on Geekscape, and maybe I can make that video, because I really, we'll see. I'm not putting anything in stone yet, but I would love to make it. Okay, folks, I think that's going to do it for the first half. Because I got to start getting ready for work. So here we are. We're doing this in real time. We're fitting it in. I had just enough time before I had to start getting ready for work, and now we're gonna throw it to future me. I guess now I thought I was present me, but now I guess I'm actually gonna be past me by the end of this video. So future Garrett, it's all on you, buddy. What? How was your day, Garrett? Tell me. How was your day? And we are back, folks. First of its kind and not just a guy history. We are back. We are, it's hours later. When I recorded that other one, it was like almost about 8 in the morning. And now it is 8 o'clock at night. I did it. I said I was going to get this in, and I'm going to get this in. You know, it was a nice long day. I was putting in that hard work, doing stuff, and just being present. And the whole experience also, I realized my hair is a little wet. You can't really super tell it, but I'm also wearing a blue shirt. One of the early episodes of Not Just a Guy, Wet Hair Don't Gare. I was wearing almost this exact same. I had wet hair and a blue shirt, so, it's the throwback. I'm regaining my roots. That was like almost 2 years ago. Oh my gosh. Anyways, also I have a full-on light source this time, and I you can really see me. You have to keep using that in the future. And I'm not gonna lie. If you're only listening on the audio, go check out the YouTube. I think I'm looking pretty good. Give a little. Oh yeah. Okay. Just stop. This is gonna get marked. I'm just gonna get flagged. I'm a little silly, as you can tell. I'm a little tired. Big long night. It's just we're out here making moves. I'm so loopy right now. Also, if you're watching on video, you can just see you can see my dinner. We're not cutting this. I'm gonna move that because I'm a professional. Okay, didn't realize that was in the shot. Don't worry, it was a burrito. It was very good, folks. What was the point of all this? What tell me, what was the point of this? What was the point of this? It was to hammer home. You got to find the time. You got to make the time. It is so easy, especially when your creative endeavors aren't what is putting food on the table, like my burrito, when it is not what's keeping the lights on, when it's not what is paying the bills. It is very easy for them to fall by the wayside. And I kind of talked about this in the finding a creative buoy episode, but this is kind of different. It's just, you got to find those pockets. You got to find, whether it's, the ideal thing is, on a day off, you can do it, but sometimes you don't want to do it on your day off. Sometimes on your day off, that is your day to recharge and rest. So it is like, okay, well, I know I'm going to go work 8 hours, which is what I did today. So I'm thinking, okay, well, how am I going to get, I really want to do the podcast today because tomorrow I'm packing. As I said, I'm going out of town. So tomorrow night I have to be pretty much packed so that in the morning on Monday when I head out of town, I can go to the gym and not have to worry about, I got to get home and rush and really pack before I go to work. Because I work at the exact same time on Monday that I have the last few days. Well, it's okay. We're going to do this. We're going to try something different with the Not Just a Guy format. We're going to do 2 parts. We're going to check in with me in the morning. We're going to check in at night. But that's a matter of, that's only 20 some odd minutes in the morning, 20 some odd minutes at night when I have to record. I don't have to do a whole hour. I can split up the time that way because I want to just relax. I want to play my game. I want to read. So it's about doing that. And then also, in those moments when you are working, when you're working that job that isn't connected to your creative endeavor, you're going to have downtime. You're going to have time when, you're doing a task, but maybe you don't want to, you're doing something that you don't really need to, 100% of your mind does not need to be focused on that task. Like, that doesn't need to be what's going through your head because it's just something you can do. Like, for me, it's folding shirts or it's fixing comics and stuff like that. So I was thinking of stuff about like, I think this is actually be a better title for this, or there's a feature idea I'm thinking about, very, very, very early stages thinking about, and I'm just like, well, that would be an interesting thing. That could be fun to explore, something like that. It's about finding those moments to be creative. Creativity strikes whenever you least expect it, at least in my case, a lot of times. And something like popped right now, and it really scared me. Not in me, although my body pops all the time. Also, folks, make sure you hydrate, because I hurt my back this morning. And I'm pretty sure it's because I was like moving around funny while dehydrated. Drink water. I need to actually do more of that and drink some more water. Anywho, I'm rambling. you got to find those moments and you got to let them strike, and you got to know how to multitask and find the time to manage. I like, on my breaks, it's like that's when I like to think about creative stuff. I always make sure I can write stuff down. I always like to have a notebook, like an actual, paper and a pen notebook. It's all about finding the time and making the time for your creativity. That's a big thing, is you got to make the time. I've talked about this many times. You do have to make the time. You have to but you also have to be realistic and realize that you're not always going to have every single day. You might not be able to do something creative. That's something I've had to learn. And maybe you should, maybe you shouldn't. That's up to you. That's your whatever. I would love to, leave that in the comments how you feel about that. But it is about realizing that it is a marathon, not a sprint. You hear that all the time. And that's even what today was. It was, okay, well, I'm going to pace this because I was tired. When I woke up, I was tired. And I'm tired right now. But I was like, well, if I do some of this in the morning, some of this at night, I can get this done because this podcast means a lot to me. Really trying to grow it, really trying to do stuff. Also, if there's creators that or if you're a creator yourself, reach out. I think I'm getting to a point where I do want to have guests on again. So I'm kind of compiling a slate. I have a couple people I want to return that from the last time I had like a big slate of guests. And then I want to have some new people, and I have some in mind, but point me in the direction of people. Give me ideas. Give me people that you think would gel with myself. People that you think would fit this, that share similar stories and that talk about being a struggling storyteller. Kind of, you can leave that in the comments. You can go to the Not Just A Guy Pod Instagram page. Let me know any ideas. I would love to take suggestions, and you can always suggest episode ideas. I would always love that. Leave them in the comments. Message me on the Not Just A Guy Pod page. Ideas for like topics you want me to talk about, topics, ideas, anything. Just let me know. I would always want to make sure I'm talking about things that people are interested in, because I find them interesting myself. So I try my best. Something I forget, and I wanted to do it this morning, and I forgot. Something I like to do is I like to talk about stories that are helping me through my struggles, because Lord knows I'd be struggling, and I always need an escape. Escapism is okay, folks, especially right now. Things suck. It's expensive to live, and you are crapped upon because you don't make enough money to live, in the sense that, like, society, it feels like you're punished for being, for not making enough money. So it's hard, and it is, it's a harsh world. It always has been, but it's even more so. And so you have to find those pockets where you can just kind of detach from reality and just do it. And I find I find that in storytelling. So 3 things right now that are helping me with that. I've been seeing a bunch of movies, but I'm focusing on 3 non-movie things, because movies are my bread and butter. I love movies, so that's always going to be something I go to. Right now, a book I'm reading is A Game of Thrones. I'm reading the first Game of Thrones book, George R.R. Martin, Song of Ice and Fire series. I love the show. The show is one of my favorite shows of all time, and I often get told that I'm a contrarian. Some people think I like to go against the grain just for the heck of it. I love that show. I love the entire show. I love how it ended. If it didn't work for you, that's awesome. Worked for me great, and I really enjoy it. I don't need you to tell me my opinion's wrong or why it's wrong that I like it, but I really wanted to check out the books, and so I have all 5. I got that as a gift for Christmas or my birthday. They're 3 days apart, so it's kind of hard to tell. Sometimes after the fact, in the moment I know, but after the fact I don't. And so I'm working my way through that one. It's about 800-ish pages. I have a smaller print. I have those ones, if you've seen them, but they're like kind of like leather bound, little smaller ones. I'm going through that, really, really enjoying that. Interesting to see. I love sometimes I love watching an adaptation first and then reading the book. One, it gives me a clearer, I can just use the actors from the adaptation in my head and adjust them however the book describes them. I'm also able to just I like to see the changes in adaptation, and I like to try and analyze why maybe they made those changes and figure out like, oh, does that work for me as well because I'm more used to this, and vice versa. So that's been the main book I've been reading right now. I'm hoping, I have a lot of books on tap. I've been reading a lot of fiction. I hope, if not this year, then, sometime in the near future, to branch out to some other like nonfiction stuff, because I've always really have done fiction. But I want to read some nonfiction stuff too, whether it's historical accounts, whether that's like self-help stuff or just like habit, books about habits and or like just analysis on us. I'm looking into doing that, because right now it's mainly, my goal is to read all my Thrones books. I have to sometimes I can go in patterns, or I can go in like I can read 1 or 2 Stephen King books back to back, but then I like to have a change of pace. So usually I've slotted in like a Star Wars book there. Before I started Game of Thrones, I was reading Star Wars New Jedi Order Vector Prime, beginning of the 19-part series. Let me say that again. 19 parts. That is 19 books. I will eventually try. I intend to read all 19, but that's a lot of cheddar cheese. That's a lot of cashola. That I do not have to buy all those books. So I will be getting back to that in the future. But I read that, I enjoyed that, and then I didn't want to go right into a Star Wars book. I was like, oh, well, I could start my Game of Thrones. After this one, I actually just ordered, because I got a good deal on it, I'm going to check out some Indiana Jones books. I love indie. I love the movies. I'll get back to indie games in a second. I want to read some of the indie books. There's some Indiana Jones books that are prequel ones. I want to check those out. I'll be checking out Indiana Jones in the Peril at Delphi. Beautiful Drew Struzan covers. Love Drew Struzan. Sending all love. There's an update on him dealing with Alzheimer's, and just one of the greatest artists of all time. Iconic posters, all the respect in the world, and my heart goes out to him and his family, his loved ones, as he's just having to deal with that just incredibly just horrible affliction, and it bums me out to know that he's not able to continue working on his art. I'm actually right now, I can see my Blu-ray copy of The Thing, which he did the cover for that, and it's sad to see that. And there's a point when some artists just can't make their art anymore, and that really breaks my heart. But yeah, that's probably what I'll be reading after a Game of Thrones, and then I intend to finish the Dark Tower series and books related to the Dark Tower. So I think the next one actually I'm going to read is Hearts in Atlantis, and then I'm going to be reading the Star Wars Aftermath books. There's just so many books. There's too many books. I love books. I'm happy. I in 2020 I rediscovered my love of books. During high school, made me kind of fall out of love with just reading novels, because they were all we were not forced. We read a lot of good books. One of my favorite books we read was Fahrenheit 451. That's one of my favorite books of all time. And actually, I think I had actually read it before we read it in high school. I was actually reread it. I think I read it in middle school, if I remember correctly, and then I reread it for then. I rediscovered during early pandemic, I needed something to do, and so I just read a bunch of Star Wars books, and that just dovetailed into me just getting a bunch of books again and reading again, and I rediscovered my love for it. And so I'm trying to get better about reading more and more and more, and just branching out, trying different stuff. My friend Chris Hall, former and future guest, recommended a book series I'm going to check out. Another sci-fi sort of something. I think it's Stormlight Archive, I believe. I'm going to check that out. And speaking of, as I said, the next book I intend to read is an Indiana Jones book, but something that has really been, I just kind of love getting lost in, and it's a story I really am enjoying, is Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Came out at the end of last year. I've been making my way through it very slowly. It's been hard, just with time management, and there was like a good 2, 3, 4 weeks where I didn't get to play it, and I just fell away from it for a little bit. But now I'm back in it. I'm back in the swing of it, swinging like Indy. Absolutely love it. I love getting plays Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones, the movies and the character, is one of the reasons why I'm a filmmaker. Without Indiana Jones, I wouldn't be. That was there was a 3-pronged thing. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that inspired me to want to be a filmmaker, but I attribute Star Wars, Jurassic Park, Indiana Jones. Those are the 3 things that made me want to be a filmmaker, because Star Wars showed me what film could be, what these stories could be, what you could do with that, the worlds you could make, the stories you could tell, the modern myth making you could do. Jurassic Park showed me just the magic, what you can do with so much and so little by hiding and building up to the reveal of the dinosaurs. And it actually made me want to be a paleontologist. Indy. I love those movies. I love history. I love those movies. And then just Indiana Jones, I connected with him. There's a lot of things in my life that I can kind of relate to in his, and he made me want to become an archaeologist. It's actually in 6th grade when I started to realize that I wanted to be a filmmaker. I said, well, I want to be a paleontologist or an archaeologist. And I realized the reason why I said that was because of Jurassic Park and Indiana Jones. And as a kid that always felt like Luke Skywalker looking out at those twin suns, I realized, I was like, oh my gosh, I want to make movies. And obviously by mentioning those 3 movies, obviously George Lucas and Steven Spielberg are huge inspirations on me. And they're some of those two, in Indiana Jones: The Last Crusade and Jurassic Park are in my top favorite 4 films of all time, as well as Back to the Future and I always have a Star Wars. It's changed when I was younger. My favorite was Return of the Jedi. Now my favorite Star Wars movie is The Last Jedi, and I really don't care if you don't like that opinion. Go have your own. Go yell at a wall. If you feel like you need to tell me that my opinion is incorrect. Enjoy whatever you enjoy. I hope you enjoy it. Anyways, but I'm just loving it. It does feel like an Indiana Jones movie, or it honestly feels like an Indiana Jones, it feels like an Indiana Jones game, but it's just like you get to go beyond the parameters of a movie. You get to spend so much time within. You get to just explore all these different hub areas. That's what I like. It's like not a full open world, but you get dropped in these hubs where there are missions, and you can just explore Egypt. You can just go around and then like for a little bit you're in the Himalayas, and it's so much fun, and I love it. I hope they make more. I would love a trilogy. I have it on my Xbox, and I love it so much I'll probably also get it on my PS5. I want more games. Troy Baker, I think, does a great job at making Indy his own. Obviously, he is homaging Harrison Ford in the motion capture. He looks like Harrison, he is designed to look like Harrison Ford, but Troy is the one doing the motion capture and the performance capture, and he is doing the voice, but it also is enough that it's its own performance, and I just love it. I think it's a heck of a game, and like I said, I really hope that they eventually make more. I would love give me a trilogy. I would love more. I love that. And then the third thing, I'm always reading comics. I love comic books. Film is my first love, but comic books, I devour comic books. I love them. I keep looking off camera, and I can see all my omnibuy, my trade, stuff like that. I love comics, and I work at a place where I get to sell people comics, and that also helps my comic addiction. I love them. I love. Right now, I'm finishing up. I actually have it right here. I can actually grab it. See, I have the digital version of Indiana Jones, and my Game of Thrones book is in my backpack. But I can bring this up. There's a little glare, but Captain America, Trial of Captain America, Omnibus. This isn't an ad, but you should go read it. Love the Ed Brubaker run on Captain America. I remember actually February 2013 was when I first started reading it. I got the Ultimate Collection of Captain America Winter Soldier, the storyline that brought back Bucky, and I had that, and then I got the subsequent one, Red Menace Ultimate Collection, and I got the Death of Captain America Ultimate Collection. I can't even talk. And I've read those, devoured those, but that's as far as I had always gotten, especially because they didn't do the other ones in like that Ultimate Collection format. So, the fun thing about being an adult is occasionally you have indisposable income, and by that I mean I have money that should go towards adult things, and I just decided to spend it on fun stuff. And so I ended up, I got the rest of the run, and I'm happy I was in a Captain America mood with the most recent film coming out, and so I was like, well, I'm going to finally finish Brubaker's run, and so I'm working my way through that. I love it. I love the time of Bucky as Cap and what it means when Steve Rogers is around, and these two men having to kind of figure out, like, can there be just one Captain America? Who should it be? Should it be Steve? Should Bucky be able to continue on? It's a great story. I love Bucky. I love Cap, I love Steve Rogers, and I just really enjoy Brubaker's work. I had been reading and catching up a lot of his work with Sean Phillips, all the great work that they do, and so I just decided, I was like, well, let's finally finish his Cap run, and I'm really enjoying that, and I have the final volume, and then I have some other Cap stuff. I'm going to finally read the entirety of Rick Remender's Cap run. I had only read the tail end with when Sam became Cap with Stuart Eminem on art, my goat. I love Stuart Eminem's art, some of the best comic book art you will ever find. And I love those 6 issues that they did of All New Captain America. I've read those cover to cover multiple times, and so I was like, well, it's finally time I read his whole run. So that's what I got on the docket. I got a lot of stuff. I'm going to reread Hawkeye. I read so many comics, it's crazy. And I tell myself I can't find time. Maybe if I'd stop reading comics every single day, I could find some time. But yeah, those are the stories that are getting me through the struggles. They are continuing to inspire me, and playing indie has really inspired me. It's made me work on some projects that I have that are, very pulp and serial inspired as well, like Indiana Jones once was. It was when Lucas and Spielberg were getting off the ground. But folks, I think that's going to do it. Not only because I feel so tired, I think I'm going to knock out on this couch. I'm actually probably going to play some Indiana Jones. But I'm tired. I have more work tomorrow when I'm recording this. But probably when you're listening to it, I probably also have work the next day. I got to keep these lights on. There's so many of them. I got to keep them all on. But that's going to do it. I really enjoyed trying this. Again, The whole point of doing it this way was to show you can get your shiznit in. To quote the wrestling business, although they don't say shiznit, you got to find the time. You got to make the time for your passions. This is one of my passions. And so you just got to find those moments. And when you get them, whether it's only 20 minutes, if it's only 20 minutes you can sit down and write, do it. If it's only 20 minutes you can sit down and record some beats, do it. Or if you have 2 different 20-minute periods in the day, do it. Make the most out of your time. You only got so much, so make the most out of it. Find it, do it, and have fun. That's all I have for you this week. Please like, rate, comment, subscribe, do all that. You can do it. Leave us reviews on the podcasting app. Leave us comments on YouTube. Follow us on the socials at NotJustAGuyPod. I don't know why I'm so frantic all of a sudden. I'm really tired, that's why. But that is going to do it for this week's edition of Not Just A Guy. Stay tuned for news. Check out these. Folks, I've said it 1,000 times. I'm so tired. The Substack. I keep wanting to use TH instead of S. I don't know why. Substack. Check it out. Bachelor class on Substack. Check out all the good stuff. Okay, folks, I'm done. I'm done. I have been your host, Not Just A Guy, the guy, Garrett Briones, and I will talk at you next time. This has been a Bachelor Class production, hosted by Garrett Briones, edited by Emily Cunningham, music provided by Stephen Cruz. For more information, follow us at Bachelor Class.